Hi everyone, this is Jane. I'm going to show you how to get full marks in your English writing exam when you're looking at writing an article. So we're going to begin with this video with structure. So getting full marks for structure, yes, you do need to have a catchy headline. Your headline is what sets the scene for the examiner to give you those marks. Has your headline summarized or given an idea about what your article is going to contain? Your next mark, for full marks for the body part of the article, once you've written your headline and you've done an introductory paragraph, have you sequenced your paragraph in logical order? So in the right order, thinking about when you're writing your article, do you really understand sequencing a paragraph? If you're not clear that you're concise enough to get your topic sentence, supporting details, and then your concluding sentence for each paragraph, be clear about the fact that your examiner is going to give you marks for having followed that structure. And yes, you do need to think about your conclusion. You're looking for full marks for this piece of work. So your conclusion is really important. Have you summed up your information? Have you given an answer? Did you use your conclusion as hinting what might happen next? The planning that you do for the article must include all of this information, because if you don't set out your plan to show what you're going to do for the structure, you're going to struggle with interesting. And that's the word that explains what the full article needs to be. It needs to capture your reader's attention. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that their reader is the examiner. It isn't. The examiner is giving you marks for writing an article that is similar to the structure you would find in real life. So have a look at articles and newspaper reports that are out there in the real world, because those reporters do that work for a living, and that's the structure that's going to get you the full marks. So you do have to be writing about something that the reader is tempted to read on about. Make sure that you've included some facts. Your examiner will be looking for that, because your article, you don't know what it's going to be about in your revision. You can only focus on ideas in this video about how to get those full marks, and then apply that to the question that you're given. Most importantly, full marks are given for an article that is clear, concise, and to the point. So your sentence structure is very important. You do need to use language features, but that's another thing for you to look at separately. So if you're not sure about which language features to use in the article, revise that information. The structure of either an article or a newspaper report is similar. So we're going to use the inverted triangle because this is what is used to create the structure, and that's what you get full marks for. Have you done a headline? That's the same as saying a catchy title or a heading. Byline is simple. Have you written who it's by? That's you. Lead is the same as the word introduction. So introductory paragraph. Lead, I like that word because you're actually doing in the first paragraph of your article, you're actually leading the reader through the main information that you're going to give detail of in the body. So the body of the article, you might use words like the main part of the article. That's where your paragraph structure comes into its own, isn't it? That's where you're going to do 2 or 3 paragraphs there that will show you understand how to write a paragraph. And the structure doesn't finish until you reach the tail of that inverted triangle. And tail, that's you've probably learnt as conclusion. So how do you conclude? How do you round it all off to make sure that you get full marks for that article? Well, to begin with, yes, I'm sure your teacher's always telling you get that headline right, but it is important for your structure because it is going to sum up the story or the ideas you're going to write about. This is where you can put your language features. If you've revised language features and perhaps you want to think about using alliteration or something that's going to make your article stand out apart from other people's. So your headline is saying, let's go. Let's, as a reader, find out more information about this. So remember that even if your article is written in the past tense, you're going to write your headline in the present tense. Why are you going to do that? Well, it's to make your reader think themselves into that article. You've got to, when we say catch the reader's attention, we mean be clever about the words that you use in that heading. Your byline, as I said before, it's simple, it's your name. If you want to suggest that you're some kind of expert in the writing of that article, you could say you're a sports reporter or a crime editor. Remember, you're writing for an exam. So you're emulating, you're copying the structure you would see in a real article. So your examiner is marking the structure by looking at, have you followed that inverted triangle? Have you done a really good lead paragraph? So this first paragraph, the introduction to your article, needs to be short. We use the word snappy. It means make sure that you've put all the information that you need. So here you've got to answer who, what, where, why, when, and how. Remembering that most cases you'll be using the past tense for that. You're not giving detail. This is where a lot of people lose marks. They put too much detail in the first paragraph. It's kind of like running a race. Can you see me there running, starting off? You're starting off, you're giving key information that's needed, but your reader has to carry on that race or carry on that reading to make sure they get all the other information, because that information comes in the body of the inverted triangle. So you're adding more information now. You've done your introduction. Now you're going to say more, give more detail about that information. So this is where you might include quotations from experts. But remember, if you're using quotations or quotes, use the correct punctuation. So revise, how do you write those out? How do you set that quotation out? And make sure that everything in your body of your article is connected to what you want to say. And the part here where some people lose marks is where they forget the important point that in an article, you have to write the information in order of importance. So if you put the most important information first in the first few paragraphs of this main part of the article or the body, that's when you're aiming for full marks, because you're showing your examiner that you know that in an article, important information comes first. So what about that tail? Well, that's another word for conclusion. You know what to do to conclude. You summarize, right? Yes, you're correct. However, to get full marks, this conclusion must have a purpose. So in that conclusion, is the purpose going to be to give a final quotation from an expert? Is the purpose going to be to sum up the information you've said? Is the purpose going to be to hint at what might happen next? And just to give you a little hint here, if you go for hinting at what might happen next and practicing doing that, That's going to make your article stand out as fully round. And that's the structure that gets you the full marks. So remember, you must get the structure of your article right. Don't just sit down and start writing it. Do a quick plan that follows the inverted paragraph structure, and then use that to follow the ideas from this video. So most important information must come first. Practice using short, precise sentences, because this is what's going to get you the mark for article. And check your facts. If you end up with a question that is about something to write for an article that you don't know anything about, remember, you have got to use facts. So try and formulate some facts that are logical, do make sense. And now you know about the structure of the article. What's next? Well, that's for you to decide. Do you need to look at the video about language features and do more revision on that? Do you need to practice writing headlines so that you're actually using your language and creating catchy phrases there? Do you need to focus on how to write an introductory paragraph, that lead paragraph, answering those questions: who, what, where, when, why, and how? Do you need to practice your paragraph structure? Weak paragraph writing is very often what's losing marks for people in a written English exam. So be very clear that you know the structure of your paragraph will gain you those marks. And if you're not very good at writing a conclusion for an article, because this is a short part of the article, it's not going to be a lengthy conclusion, then practice that section. So deciding on what's next is down to you. Good luck, and I'll see you again in next class.